Money is such a delicate subject, isn't it? Especially within a family. On one hand, helping those we love can feel like the most natural thing in the world. You want to see your children or grandchildren thrive, and if you're able to ease their burden, why wouldn't you? But sometimes what begins as a small gesture of love quietly grows into a pattern that drains not only your wallet, but also your sense of balance. It's rarely intentional, yet the effect can leave you feeling more like a bank than a beloved parent or grandparent. I once spoke with Anna, a gentle woman of 72 who adored her grandson. At first, she helped him with little things, paying for groceries when he was between jobs, covering a utility bill here and there. But soon, the requests became more frequent and the amounts larger. Anna noticed her pension shrinking faster than expected. But what troubled her most wasn't the money. It was the way she began to feel invisible, valued more for her financial support than for her presence or wisdom. One day, she gathered the courage to say, "I love you deeply, but I cannot keep doing this." It was hard, but that simple boundary not only protected her stability, it reminded her grandson to take responsibility for his own life. The truth is, setting limits does not mean you love less. It means you care about yourself enough to stay strong, healthy, and secure. And when you are well, your family benefits from your stability far more than from another paid bill. Still, I know how heavy the guilt can feel when you start thinking about pulling back. You may ask yourself, am I being selfish? Will they think I don't care? But ask gently in return, what happens to me if I keep giving more than I have to give? If you're facing something like Anna did, one practical step is to look closely at your budget. Write down your fixed income, your monthly needs, and then calculate how much, if any, is truly extra. Having those numbers in front of you can help you explain your limits with clarity and kindness. I only have this much available, and I need to make sure my own essentials are covered. Another gentle practice is to prepare a sentence you can lean on. Something simple like, "I wish I could help more, but this is what I can manage right now." Rehearsing it aloud may make it easier to say when the moment comes. You might also find strength in sharing your perspective openly. Sometimes family doesn't realize the pressure they're placing on you. By explaining not only your financial situation, but also how it makes you feel, you invite them into a deeper relationship, one built on respect and honesty, not silent sacrifice. If these words resonate with you, if they stir something familiar in your own life, I invite you to stay close to this space. Each week, we explore gentle but powerful ways to protect your peace and your dignity as you age. Subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation, because your journey matters and you deserve support that honors your heart as much as your years. Time is one of the most precious treasures you hold, and yet it is the one thing most often taken for granted. Family members may assume that because you are retired or simply at home more often, your hours belong to them. They ask for rides, babysitting, errands, favors, without pausing to notice the toll it might take on your energy. At first, it can feel good to be needed, but slowly you might begin to feel stretched thin, as if your own rhythms and rest no longer matter. What's difficult is that this isn't always done out of malice. Often, they truly don't see it. But you feel it each time you cancel your walk because someone needs you to watch the children, or each evening you fall asleep exhausted after a day that wasn't really your own. I think of Robert, who is 78 and lives near his daughter's family. At first, he was delighted to help pick up his grandchildren from school a few times a week. But over time, those few times became every day. Then came the morning drop-offs, the weekend babysitting, and even running errands for his daughter's household. Robert found himself with little space left for his own interests. His painting supplies gathered dust, and he hadn't been to his men's book club in months. One day, sitting in his car waiting for school dismissal, he realized he had started to resent the very people he loved most. That realization frightened him, but it also gave him the courage to have a gentle conversation with his daughter about needing balance. Your time, like your health, carries a value that increases with age. Medical research shows that fatigue is not just a passing inconvenience in later years. It affects the heart, the immune system, even the clarity of your memory. When you give too much of your time away, you also give away part of your strength. And once depleted, recovery is not as quick as it once was. That's why protecting your time is not selfish, it's essential. Without rest and space, the body becomes more vulnerable and the mind loses its spark. So what can you do? Start by asking yourself, what moments in my week are truly mine? If you find it difficult to name even one, it may be time to draw gentle boundaries. You could say, I can help on Tuesdays, but I need Wednesdays for myself. Or, I'm happy to watch the kids twice a month, but not every weekend. These simple phrases, said with warmth and steadiness, can make all the difference. You may be surprised to find that your family respects you more when you show them your time has value. And if you're thinking, that sounds nice, but I don't know if I can actually say it, remember Robert. He was worried his daughter would feel abandoned. Instead, she admitted she had simply assumed he enjoyed all the time with the children. When he explained his need for rest, she adjusted, and their relationship grew more balanced. Sometimes honesty, spoken with love, opens doors that silence keeps closed. If these words feel familiar, and if you find comfort in knowing you're not alone in these struggles, I encourage you to stay close to this circle of reflection. Each week, we explore tender but vital truths about aging and family life. Subscribe so you can keep receiving guidance that honors your dignity, your well-being, and your precious time. There is a quiet kind of pain that comes when your needs seem invisible. Perhaps you've noticed moments when family conversations revolve around what others require: rides, help, money, childcare, while your voice goes unheard. At first, you may brush it aside, telling yourself it's not important, that you can wait, that they are busier than you. But over time, that silence begins to weigh on you. You start to wonder, does what I need matter anymore? That question can echo in the heart, and it hurts not because you want too much, but because you deserve to be seen. As we grow older, our needs do not disappear, they simply shift. The body asks for more rest, gentler rhythms, steady routines. Emotionally, too, there is a deep need for connection, respect, and recognition. Yet family members, caught up in their own lives, may overlook this reality. It isn't always intentional. Often it is simply that they forget the effort it takes for you to manage daily life. What was effortless at 40 can demand twice as much energy at 70. For example, something as small as climbing the stairs or standing too long while cooking can tax the joints and muscles. Medical research reminds us that recovery times lengthen with age, meaning your body needs more support, not less. So when your needs are dismissed, the consequences are more than emotional, they ripple into your health as well. It can feel daunting to assert those needs, especially if you've spent a lifetime putting others first. But think of it this way: acknowledging what you need is not a demand, it is an act of honesty. And honesty is one of the greatest gifts you can give your loved ones. If you never share what you require, how can they truly know you? If they don't see you fully, how can they offer real love? Perhaps you could begin gently, starting with yourself. Take a small piece of paper and write down 3 things you need most right now. It could be more rest, companionship, or perhaps financial steadiness. Then practice saying them aloud, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Feel the words in your mouth. Get used to the sound of your own needs being spoken. From there, choose one trusted family member and share just one of those needs this week. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Something as simple as, "I'd love it if you could call me once a week. It makes me feel connected," can begin to shift the pattern. You may be surprised how differently people respond once they hear your truth. Sometimes the problem isn't unwillingness, it's unawareness. And by voicing what matters, you not only take care of yourself, you teach others how to care for you as well. That is not selfish. That is the essence of relationship. So I ask you, with gentleness, What is one thing you need right now that you have not spoken aloud? Let that question rest with you and see if you can allow the answer to come forward. Because you too are worthy of attention, of care, of being heard. There is a heaviness that comes when every no feels like a betrayal. You may recognize it, the knot in your stomach, the rush of guilt when you think about turning down a request from family. Perhaps it's the fear that they'll see you as unloving or that they'll pull away. Yet if you look closely, that guilt is not really about love, it's about control. When someone makes you feel guilty simply for protecting your own well-being, that is not care, it is pressure. And when decisions start being made for you without your input, the message is quietly sent that your voice matters less. That can be one of the most painful experiences of aging, the subtle shift from being a respected guide in your family to being treated as though you are incapable. This doesn't always happen abruptly. Sometimes it begins with small things. Your daughter scheduling a medical appointment for you without asking, or your son deciding how your finances should be handled for your own good. They may tell themselves they're helping, but you may feel erased. To lose that sense of agency, even in small ways, can chip away at your confidence and leave you questioning your place in your own life. And when guilt is woven into the pattern, it becomes harder and harder to resist. It may help to remember a simple truth: love never demands silence. Real care does not require you to give up your voice or your choices. There is a common belief many of us were raised with, that family always knows best. But that isn't always true. The reality is that you know your own needs, your own preferences better than anyone else. Wisdom doesn't vanish with age. In fact, it deepens. And while the body may grow more fragile, your right to be heard does not diminish. So how can you begin to shift this pattern gently but firmly? Start by noticing when guilt arises. Ask yourself, am I saying yes because I want to, or because I fear their reaction if I don't? This question alone can bring clarity. Next, prepare a soft but steady way to decline. It might sound like, I understand this is important to you, but right now I need to take care of myself. Practicing such sentences allows you to reclaim your dignity without confrontation. When it comes to decisions being made without you, consider beginning with small corrections. For instance, I appreciate your concern, but I want to be part of this choice. Each time you assert yourself, however gently, you remind your family and yourself that your voice is vital. Do not underestimate the quiet strength that comes from self-respect. Setting limits doesn't diminish love, it protects it. It allows relationships to breathe freely without resentment or hidden wounds. And when you honor your own boundaries, you show others how to honor them too. You deserve that balance. You deserve that respect. You deserve relationships built on care, not on guilt or control. If these words touched you, stay close to this space where your dignity is always honored. And I'd love to hear from you. Does guilt ever rise up for you when you try to say no? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story may be the light that helps someone else find their courage. There is a quiet moment many people describe, a moment when they notice that decisions about their own life are being made without them. It may be subtle at first, a doctor's appointment scheduled without asking your availability, or a family member telling others what you would prefer without even checking with you. And while these actions are often explained as care or convenience, they can leave you feeling as if your voice no longer matters. Coupled with the guilt that often arises when you try to resist or speak up, this can create a painful sense of invisibility. Guilt is such a powerful tool, isn't it? When someone says, "But I do everything for you, can't you just agree?" it places a weight on your heart that is hard to carry. You may find yourself saying yes not because you want to, but because you fear being seen as ungrateful or difficult. Yet love should never thrive on guilt. Love flourishes in respect, in listening, in collaboration. If you find yourself constantly yielding because of guilt, it may be a sign that something is out of balance. There is also a common myth that slips into many families, the idea that family always knows best. Perhaps you've heard it or even repeated it over the years. But with time and wisdom, it becomes clear that this belief is not entirely true. Your loved ones may care deeply, but that does not mean they always know what is right for you. Only you carry the unique knowledge of how you feel inside your own body, what brings you comfort, and what drains your spirit. Growing older does not take that wisdom away. If anything, it sharpens it. One gentle way to begin reclaiming your voice is to practice small, steady responses. When guilt rises, pause and breathe before answering. Ask yourself, if I say yes, will I feel peace or will I feel resentment? Let that question guide your reply. And when others try to make decisions on your behalf, consider soft but firm phrases such as, I appreciate your concern, but I'd like to be part of this choice, or thank you for helping, but I want to share what matters to me. These words do not create conflict, they create clarity.
Remember that your well-being depends not only on your health, but also on your sense of autonomy. When you protect your right to be heard, you protect the very essence of your dignity. And far from creating distance, this honesty often deepens relationships because it invites your family to know the real you, not just the version they assume. You deserve to live with respect, free from the burden of guilt and the shadow of control. And if these thoughts resonate with you, I invite you to stay close to this space where your wisdom and strength are always honored. Subscribe so you can continue to receive guidance that supports you. And tell me in the comments, which of these signs have you noticed most in your own life? Your story matters, and sharing it may help someone else find their courage too.